All right, this is stimulus funny. We are definitely on. People are starting to come on. I don't know if they can hear my voice or yet not, but I am your girl, Miss Neka, and welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to do some sharing to make sure everybody is seeing. All right. So I am your girl, Miss Neka. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I am sitting here with she actually has a few titles because one, she is my state rep for my district and where I live. She's also been a great mentor and leader, and I can call her a friend too. So I'm so happy to be sitting here with State Rep Barrera Hawkins for District 120. Thank you so much for taking the time, honey. We have gotten a lot of calls, myself and B. Michelle from B. Michelle Branding and Coaching, just about issues with money help, funding, how the process is going, how people are getting picked, when are we going to get help? There's just so many questions. And so we thought, let's get some of these folks together and have a conversation, answer some questions, and see what we can get done. So I am actually going to turn it over to Barbara. and let's introduce who we have.
For sure. And I consider Janie a friend. We've known each other for a number of years, and Janie is the CEO of Live Fund. And thank you, Janie, for coming and talking to the community. As you well know, knowledge is power. And one of the things folks want to do is be educated on what's happening. And as a legislator, what I want to do is make sure people don't have misplaced understanding or expectations.
Yes.
So we want to have straight talk today, and we want to clear it up.
Sure.
Also, we have the great pleasure of having Elva Adams here from Jefferson Bank. And one of the things I think of having a banker here, so thank you so much, Ms. Adams, for being here, is that the bank, who's been on the front line of what we call the first stimulus rush, truly has a great understanding of what is happening, how it's working, how it's not working. So today we want to have a conversation among our women to really talk to our community about what's happening. So Janie, why don't you kind of share with the community folks what your program does, how much money is involved, and the expectations?
Sure. So there's two programs, Representative Hawkins, and by the way, thank you for that introduction. I know we've known each other for more than 25 years, and so we're working together all these years. So through Live Fund, there are two programs available for our small businesses that are here in Bexar County. As you know, it's been over a month now that we started this, that the crisis came to up front, and then it was the county commissioners and Judge Wolf who said, what could we do to help small businesses? And so the product that was put together to offer in the county of county of Bexar County were loans that we could offer up to $25,000, and they would be for working capital. And how that works is that the county has lent, it's not a grant, but the county lends Live Fund $5 million, and it expects to return it back. With those $5 million, the product that was approved by the county are loans up to $25,000 at 0% interest to the small business person. The small business owner has to have 10 employees or less, and the income for that small business has to be less than $1 million annually, and it cannot be something new that was added later, but it cannot be a professional service. So in other words, in the beginning, we didn't know that was one of the parameters. And so going forward, we are not making loans to professional services like attorneys or architects and things like that. It's strictly for mom and pop small businesses. that can also prove that they have a loss of income of 15% or more. And that's pretty easy to prove, right? Because if you've been closed, if you are a barbershop or a hairstylist and your doors have been closed for a month, for weeks now, obviously you can show that there was no revenue that came in during that time. So that is the one product that we have available. The other one is through the PPP program. Jefferson Bank and although can talk about how long they've been at it, but on April the 13th of this month, right? Lift Fund was part of the program. Lift Fund is a not-for-profit organization. As I stated earlier in the program with the Bexar County has lent us that $5 million to put out in loans. So we always have to look for people to lend us money to be able then to put out on the street. So when we were told that we could be a PPP provider, Goldman Sachs came in and said that they would help with with a $25 million loan, and Credit Human came in and said we will add to that $5 million for San Antonio and the MSA area from Credit Human. We borrowed that money. Okay, so on April the 13th, we made that announcement that before you could only apply with your bank. Now, as of April 13th, I can't believe it's been less than 2 weeks, it feels like years ago, that we opened up the spigot for people to be able to apply directly with Lift Fund. Well, we were inundated, right, in terms of applications coming in. And then by Thursday, so this is a Monday, by Thursday of that same week, the spigot closes because Lift Fund and other nonprofits across our country were now eligible on that Monday. But think about it, banks for 2 weeks or 3 weeks before then had the opportunity to make these loans up to that point. So even though there was $350 billion out there, within those 2 days that we had an opening to submit applications, we were able to submit 8 and get funding for 9 loans in that round. And it equaled almost $800,000. That's all we were able to get out in that first round. Wow. Since that time, since we were anticipating, and as you all know, it got signed last night, the opening of a new tranche of dollars. So in anticipation of that, our team members have been working, packaging the loans that we have gotten through our website. And so that PPP program, as you know, is for payroll protection plan. So the amount of the loan is based on your payroll. And then there's an equation that goes with it, times 2, and then of whatever you submit. And then you could also put in there funds that you'll need to pay your rent and any interest due on loans, for example. So as we move forward on this, people have been asking me questions like, well, how have you been targeting, certain areas? Well, it's not necessarily targeting. What we've done is we've put out the word just from media sources, right? The newspaper or television, news, and things like that. And that's how people have heard about Lift Fund being a provider, has been through the sources out there that are coming in. And I'm hoping that this conversation that we're having right now, if you know of someone that has thought, well, I'm not going to be able to qualify, I don't know how to apply, I don't know what paperwork I need to submit, I encourage you to go to, and it's www, right? SALENDING at liftfund.com. So SALending at liftfund.com. Remember, Lift Fund is with an I, not a Y. So we're not the shared riders, right? So if you go there, if you know of a small business right now you can go on there and we will respond to you and you can just click on there whether you want information on the product that's available by the county or the product that's available by PPP, and we'll send you the information. Now, if you go to our website, it's going to say closed.
Got it.
You have to go to this, and that will be the direct link. And please help us. Help us find those small businesses. We will work with these over the weekend because we know that money is going to be spent. That next tranche that's coming in, it's going to be gone just as fast as the first time.
Janie,
so let's help everybody.
Janie, I got a couple of questions before we bring Elva in because we want to also honor her time. But the $25,000 loan is 0 interest, but what's the payback period?
You get 4 months. Okay, 4 months of deferred payment. In other words, no payment for 4 months.
Okay.
And it can be up to $25,000. It doesn't have to be 25, right? And then it can be. It depends on your capacity to repay. We'll go out as far as 4 years on that 25.
Okay.
But if you can pay it back sooner, we encourage that. But there's no penalty. We amortize out to 4 years, and then if you pay it off in 2 years, there's no penalty to paying off earlier.
Okay. The other question that I have before we bring Elva in, is that on the PPP part, the $30 million pot, we know that historically they talked about is turning into grants if you bring back certain amount of employees.
Yes, sir. Thank you. I forgot to mention that part. Let me explain that part. So yes, so let's just say you qualify for a $25,000 or $20,000 PPP loan. So let me share with you how it works. Remember, Lift Fund is not a bank, so it's not our money that we're using like Jefferson's money, right? So we borrow money, let's say from Credit Human. And so Credit Human says you can use this pot of money. John or Jane applies for the loan through Lift Fund. We get the paperwork ready. We submit it to SBA. SBA says yes, they qualify for that $20,000 loan, and they give us a number. Go ahead, Lift Fund, make them the loan. Lift Fund uses the money that we borrowed to make the loan to John or Jane, and they must keep their employees for 8 weeks. After 8 weeks, they send us the documentation that says, we've complied with that, please forgive my loan. Lift Fund takes that paperwork, submits it to the SBA. SBA says, yes, they've complied. Lift Fund forgives that loan, and then SBA sends us that $20,000 so that we can then repay Credit Human, because we have a debt to Credit Human to pay.
Understood. So y'all are serving as a pass-through. So
Correct.
we have several more questions for you because people want to know paperwork and all that, but I'd like to get Ms. Adams in from Jefferson Bank to kind of talk to us from the banking perspective, because Janie, we're looking at Lift Fund as a non-traditional lender, and we want to get to the bank and see. So would you chime in with us, Elva, and tell us about what the bank is doing and what your understanding of the programs are?
Absolutely. So I represent Jefferson Bank as local community banks, and obviously there's a lot of programs that's different than each bank that you go to. So right now the most popular one is the PPP Paycheck Protection Program. So that's what we're participating. And as Janie mentioned, is the same process. Everybody goes to Lift Fund, and I have to say Lift Fund has been a savior. I'm so glad that here that Lift Fund participated in PPP, because what happened is we get a lot of applications, and I know all the banks that they are processing a lot of those requests as well. Mostly they're putting their part to help their own existing bank customers. So for customers who are banking with credit unions, if they are not participating, they feel like they're left out, right? So Lift Fund will be a great resource for them to go to Lift Fund if their own banks not participate in this program. So I don't want to go too much of details because Janie already explained to you what the process is in a PPP. That's just one program that SBA has allowed the lender to participate. That I encourage you, the small business owner, start with your own bank first and then apply. And then if your bank is not participating, go to the LIP fund. And of course, you can go to the SBA website. There's a list of the participating banks. So you can see who are the banks who will accept application that, from if you're not their existing customers. Now, SBA also introduced, that will be about a month ago before the PPP introduced, it's called SBA Express Disaster Bridge Loan. So that program is developed very similar like the regular SBA Express program. It's up to $25,000. And that's a program that allows lenders who can participate in the loan. What it means is that once you get that loan, you have to turn around and use some other disaster funds or some regular loans to pay it off, because that's just for interim purposes. That was introduced before the PPP was introduced. I am not sure how many banks are actually participating in that, just given the fact that that program, the SBA only give the lenders 50% guarantee for that program versus the PPP is 100% guaranteed by the SBA. So a lot of banks feel that the incentive is a little bit higher and better to participate in PPP than the SBA Express Bridge Loan. So that's really just depends on what banks choose to do. And I also heard that Congress also introduced another program that I don't know how many banks are participating. It's called Main Street. And of course, that Main Street program is designed for a larger corporation to use. So I don't think that really apply to most of our small business owners here in this community. So really, this is a 3 program that I am aware of. And of course, each bank may have their own disaster fund program that they provide. So again, just check with your banks and see what are the resources available.
Tell us, Elva, have Jefferson, were y'all able to give any loans during this first go round?
Oh, absolutely. We have a process of almost 400 applications and close to $100 million. As I said, we're a small local community banks, and we only have so many staffs that can get together and process this. We work long hours. We can, just like Janie's staffs and along with the other banks, that will work very long hours and try to get as many applications as we possibly can. And as you know, since the program introduced on April the 3rd, that was designed only the business that has a LLC or S corporation, C corporation, that they can start. And then a week later, on April the 10th, they allow the self-employee individual, the sole proprietorship individual, to participate. Well, as you know, when that switch turns on, now, like 3 days later, the funds ran out. So it doesn't give small business the opportunities, especially the sole prop, opportunity to finish their application process and submit this. So that's why, I'm very happy to hear that the President Trump, the Congress passed a bill, President signed today, and we just got a notice that the program will be open on Monday. So we'll be geared towards, on Monday, and start processing more applications that was not able to process in the first round.
Well, I'd like to ask, because specifically in my district, I have a lot of small businesses, okay? Yes. And we're talking from restaurants to beauty barbershops to small car lot folks, a lot of sole proprietors.
Yes, ma'am.
They've gotten very disenchanted about what's going on. Help me help them. How can we put together so that your staff is not overwrought, okay? How can we help put some of these applications together and/or do some virtual group settings? Say, for instance, and Janie, you can weigh in on this too, that if we're able to get 8 people together in a Zoom or Google Meets type, can we get an officer to get on and help walk folks through the process so that their applications are correct and they've got all the support documents? We don't want, or what's complicated is with the individual goals, and they're missing this, they're missing that. They feel they're getting the runaround. They give up. We've got to fix that piece. Are y'all open for that type of format?
Excellent idea, and yes. Could we set something up this afternoon? Seriously, no, seriously.
That's what
We
we
can
need.
provide, our team this morning was thinking, how can we help the community? Because our people are inundated. We only have, a certain amount of people that we can make phone calls to. But if we could get a network of people, we share with you, here's a list of things. If you're a sole proprietor, this is what we're going to be asking for. If you are a small business owner, period, this is what we're going to be looking for. And if they say, well, I don't have that, then okay, how do we help you, right? And then I know that a company just reached out to me and said, look, we'll charge $250 to help somebody with their payroll, because that's the big thing on the PPP, right? Identify what's going to qualify or not. Now, obviously, they're not doing it for free, but they're a local company, payroll company. He says, if you send me people, I'm going to charge them $250, and I will get them, they don't have to have that headache of trying to figure out how to work it.
Right.
You could loop them in too, if you wanted to.
And that's actually exactly what we need to do. We need to take our strengths and our resources that we have as a community and people and put those together to solve these issues.
That's right. Or you may have somebody that's not going to charge. You may have somebody that you already know, an accountant or somebody, a payroll company that's, watching this and said, you know what, I want to help my community. I'll only charge $100, or I'll just charge nothing, to be able to work, because it's not easy. It's our small, our mom and pop businesses, I hate to say this, but it's true. They don't have the best financials, and that's why we as a not-for-profit have to work, to help them qualify. That's why it takes so long to get your application in, right?
Right. So Janie, if we are able to put together 6, 8, 10 people tomorrow, is it possible to do a Zoom type deal and have
be taught, explain the process, and then, but it's going to be up that community of people too. How do we go out? Do we knock on doors? What do we do, right?
They're going to be required to have to teach 5 people.
Well, I think one of the things we can do is reach out to our churches, our faith-based community. Okay, I think once our community see a couple of wins, okay, the ball will start rolling. Word of mouth is huge in our community because we don't have what we'll call standardized media. We have some media, but we also want to rely on our media. So tell me this, I know y'all have probably receiving some type of admin dollars. Is there any dollars set aside at all? No admin, no media, no flyers, none of that. Okay.
Negative.
So if the media is to get paid, it's going to have to come from the applicant who maybe budget that, and it could be a small amount, like the $250 on the payroll person. It's a small amount. We've got to get the word out. Okay.
I'll donate right now $100 of my own money to pay somebody. I'll write you a check. I mean, there is no money for that.
But see, I just want to make clear that that's how much you want this community to be better and get this help. And I do want to kind of just say, I mean, we're women in here. We're minorities as far as being women. We are all minorities in culture as well. I think that becomes a concern. We're thinking about the African American community, the Hispanic community, the Asians community, all these different communities that might not be in the spotlight, and make sure that they're taken care of too. Is there a way to even make sure of that, to make sure that everybody is equally being looked at to get help and to make sure they're being helped?
We can look at, for example, the county money on something like that. The county is well aware that it's their money. It's not LIF funds money, right? So we can look and see how we could work with a certain portion of that to make sure what you're saying, right? Yeah. When you work with federal funds, I'm sorry, we cannot. These are dollars that I want to be in existence 25 years from now. And
Yeah.
it's a fund, right?
Yeah.
And so we can't bend the rules. The rules are the rules.
Yeah. It goes to whoever is available. I mean,
Right. So that's the whole point, right? We're going to meet, put together this thing tomorrow, because once they're in the queue, then that's something else.
Yes, yes. And I think that's why I kind of wanted to bring it up so people can understand that. Federal dollars that's everybody, whoever gets there, whoever qualifies. So we have to make sure the information's right. Barbara had made the mention, you made the mention, when we want to be more specific and say, okay, we got to make sure our women are taken care of, or we got to make sure our certain communities, we might have to look at other aspects to do that. But I just wanted to put that out there.
I think being innovative in terms of putting these cadres of people together, 8 to 10, walking through the process and educating people on what to do so they can educate others.
Mm-hmm.
The saying is, you give a man a fish, he eat for a day. You teach him how to fish, it's a lifetime. And so we want to be able to show our folks how to fish in this pond.
Yes.
And so, Janie, if we get some folks together, and we can work on that today.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And if we call you
time tomorrow.
Well, we call you before end of day today to give you. We want to make sure we have the folks, okay, and give you a time, and we'll set up something for tomorrow. Okay.
And Representative, the other thing, in that saying is that, you give somebody a fish and they eat for a day. You teach somebody a fish to eat for a lifetime. What we do is we help people buy the pond where they fish. And now they, have something of worth to leave to the next generation. So that's what we're trying to do, is build equity here.
Sounds good. Now, the other thing that the people are concerned about tremendously, and Elva, you probably can weigh on this, and Janie, folks are concerned that if they owe taxes, if they have other debts, if they've got other problems, say they got credit issues, what are those things that are precluding these folks so we can eliminate any excuses from them not applying?
And again, that goes to the, federal laws and all that kind of stuff. Thank goodness this has nothing to do with credit. So you can have a credit score of 200. We don't care.
Okay.
So it's nothing based on credit scores.
Okay.
It is based on being current on all your taxes. If you have not paid your taxes, you're not going to be eligible.
Okay. And Elva, the same thing with the bank?
Absolutely. We don't pull credit score. This is nothing to do related to credit, but on the application, the PPP application, there's 4 answers. It's very important. If you answer anything that's negative, you are automatically disqualified. So I would encourage when people start filling the application, look at those 4 questions. First of all, to be the basic eligibility is obviously you have to have employee under 500, and then your employee has to reside in the United States. That's a very basic, the 2 basic eligibility. Once you pass that, then you go over, like Janie says, you have to make sure there's no criminal history within the last 5 years, and that's very important. That's one of the questions. And then, of course, another question is, and let me just read those questions, because if you answer those yes, then you're automatically disqualified. If you are presently suspended or debarred, if you're, federal department, like for example, you have a loss to pass SBA laws, that's probably going to be disqualify you from getting the application. So there are 4 questions. I would just encourage everybody to look through the questions and understand what is asking, and make sure that you're eligible before you actually spend the time to put together. And also, it's very important for sole proprietorship and the self-employee. Earlier, we say credit is not really a factor, but however, based on the self-employee, we're using a net earnings from your Schedule C to calculate a loan amount. Let's just say, and then we base on the last year's. Okay, so let's just say if you have net loss, that means we don't have qualified payroll or qualified information to put the loan amount together, right? So that's very important. So you have to look at your income statement and your for last year, and then your Schedule C, because without Schedule C, we won't be able to process the loan.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Even if you didn't apply, even let's just say you didn't turn in your 2019 tax, right? You're still going to have to, we're still going to require you to do a Schedule C for your 2019.
Okay.
Correct. A draft Schedule C and accommodate with the profit and loss statement. And if some of them don't have profit and loss statement, we can use bank statement as well to support the incomes and the expenses that they're putting on a draft Schedule C if they have not filed a tax return. But it's very important. It's not required to file the 2019 tax return, but you have to have a draft Schedule C available for the banks and for the fund to take a look at it, your application.
Okay. Tell me this, can you qualify for more than one program? Can I participate in a disaster loan and a PPP?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, you can. When IDLE first introduced, it was with the purposes of maximum loan amount is $2 million. We all know that. And advance up to $10,000. But however, going through the past month, I have noticed a lot of my friends, including myself, because I'm a small business owner as well. I own a Taekwondo school here in San Antonio, and I'm very grateful for this one, who actually give me a startup business loan 3 years ago and helped me start my martial arts school. But now I feel like I have to go back to the ground zero to start it again. So I borrow again through Live Fund to help me to restart my business. So I'm forever grateful for Janie and her teams, doing for our community. So what happened is with the IDLE, a lot of people when they apply, it depends on the advance amounts, depends on how many employees that put on the application when they do it online. And that's a program that you apply through the SBA online directly. That's nothing to do with a banking institution, their lenders. So let's just say if you put 5 employees currently you have, and then you will get $5,000 advance, and that amount is forgivable. Okay. However, let's just say if you also apply for PPP, you just have to make sure that the use of proceeds, they are not the same purposes. If they are using the same purposes, they have to merge together with the IDLE and with the PPP. Okay, and it will be deducted from the forgiveness calculation at the later at the end.
Okay.
So a lot of people they'll weigh in and say, okay, is PPP really good for me? Some of businesses, this is not PPP, is not a program for them. Let me just give you your example. Let's just say they only have 2 employees or 1 employee. Their payroll is very minimum, but then they have a huge obligation for the rent, the utilities, all those fixed operating assets that they have, and expenses that they have to pay. So PPP is really not for them, because what happened is when during that 8-week period, what if they have a amount that is not being included in the forgiveness? It turns into a loan and they have to pay in 2 years. So we all know, even with $5,000 in 2 years at 1%, that monthly amount payment obligation is high. So for small businesses, they already have loans in place, and then they add this one that's not forgivable, and add on top of their debt. All of a sudden, the debt obligation is so high, it's hard to keep track and repay back. So I think that's education that we have to go through and then teach our small business owners.
Okay, so IDLE may be a better way to do it.
I'm sorry?
I said the IDLE loan may be a better deal than the PPP.
In some cases, yes, because the IDLE, the advance that you received, as long as it does not, is a forgive. Not just only for if you use payroll, if you use for rent, utility, and those are forgive. So not as for PPP that you have to have at least, we just use a straight calculation, 75% for payroll. Then that part will be forgive. For the non-payroll expenses that you use the loan proceeds from PPP, you will not forgive. It will be turned into a loan. You have to pay in 2 years. And of course, first 6 months is no payment. So that's very important. So you have to do your loan, your calculation, make sure what part is forgive and what part is not forgive, and to be prepared for that. Otherwise, I anticipate this is going to be another round of borrowing coming after this PPP, because what happened is after the calculation, a lot of people is going to be very surprised that all of a sudden they have amount that is not forgive.
Mhm.
Tell me this, Elva, as a small bank, okay, is Jefferson interested also, like I shared with Janie, about us putting a cadre of people together? Is that something the bank would be interested in, or are y'all only looking at your existing customers and one-on-one relationships?
So right now, not just Jefferson Bank, and I think a lot of banks, they're concentrating on helping their existing customers. So that's what we're doing right now. We have not opened our application for non-customer. However, I personally, along with several bankers, we would love to donate our time to help small business communities and business owners put a package together, maybe submit it to Lift Fund or their own banks, because it's very important, because we know the program really well, and we like to donate our times. And I have done a lot of small group of meetings with my Asian community, because as you know, Asian community, they are very reserved. They don't understand. There's so many guidance pages that they don't understand. So I've been involving that group and just help them understand. So yes, I personally would donate my time. I mean, during the weekend. So if you want to give me a call, Michelle, and stay rep, and more than happy to help.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, if you could join us tomorrow, whenever that is, that would be extra resource, because you know more about those, like the programs you've been discussing right now. You're much more of an expert than I am on that. So
Yes.
I'll be happy to.
I love it. And I'm just going to promise you I'm coming to your karate school, because I got a third degree black belt karate girl, and I'm coming to see you. I love it. Okay, so our main questions, I think we got a lot of the questions answered. I even think we've got a really good solution, which is what we're going to do tomorrow, coming together. Thank you, ladies, so much, because to be honest, being able to just have a conversation about it makes me feel better about what's going on. I've learned a little bit more. I have a little bit more knowledge. I can tell my friends, tell some other business people that I know. Do you think, let me ask you this, if you didn't just need the money, should you apply, or should you just kind of hang on and see where it goes? Because like you said, you don't want to be in a position where you got to pay back even more and borrow more money, or whatever the case may be. If you're okay, should you just kind of stay in there, or do you think everybody should apply? In my opinion, I think you should really look at it with your employees for the next 8 weeks, because like Janie mentioned, you only have 8 weeks. You have to use that 8 weeks for payroll in order to be included in the forgiveness. If you look at what your current situation right now, are you be able to open within the next 4 weeks? Because if you can open next 4 weeks, that's 4 weeks out of that 8 weeks. Okay.
Right? Once you get the funds. So you really have to look at it. Of course, each business is unique. I don't want to discourage any businesses from applying, but you have to look at your own situation and really understand, is this really going to help you? Because again, you only have 8 weeks to spend.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I would add to that, yes, if you have set employees right now, if let's just say you've been a restaurant and you're doing takeout or whatever, so you've kept those employees and you want to keep them, let's just say you have 5 or 6 employees, yes, you may be doing well right now, but why don't you apply? You've got the employees in place, and it'll make it a little bit simpler, because to be frank, when you've got a sole proprietor and you've had 1099 people with you, they have to go apply by themselves and all that kind of stuff. But for a business that's had employees on their payroll and they're still there, and you can keep them for another 8 weeks, do it.
Yeah, definitely.
Love it. I love it. Thank you, ladies, so very much. We will see you soon.
Yeah, can I just make sure that people that are ready right now, that maybe they applied somewhere else and they don't feel that comfortable, you can apply to more than one place. But if you do receive a number from somebody else, please contact the second person or the second organization that you are working with to say, look, I've already got my SBA number from my first time, right? So if people are, want to come to, and this is an email, I think I may have said a website earlier, but it's an email. It's SALENDING@LIFTFUND.com. So SALending@liftfund.com. Go
Right.
now.
Go now.
Absolutely, because a lot of people already submitted their application to the bank. They're just waiting. They may not be contacted by their bank.
Right.
So go apply at Live Fund. Go apply in the resources that because this is urgent. I mean, we don't have time. Small business owners don't have time to wait on anybody. So let's just see who can come first and then get their loan approved. Then just call the other banks and say, hey, I got a loan approved through a Live Fund. Absolutely.
So tell us, what's the best time tomorrow for y'all? If we were able to get y'all together tomorrow with a loan officer or whatever, what's the best time tomorrow? Is it morning or afternoon best? Anytime is good
Let's
for
do
you?
2.
2 o'clock?
No,
Okay.
I'm just saying, okay, yeah, 2 o'clock, but let's do it a 9 o'clock as well. Maybe somebody can't make it on your team, and we can do 2 different sessions.
Okay, a morning and an afternoon?
Yes.
Okay.
I like it. All
But
right.
let's get at least 8 people. It's not worth, if you can only find 2 for a 9 o'clock slot, let's not do it. Let's move it to 2. It's not worth it to do it just for 2 or 3. We need a mass of people to help out right now.
We got you.
And I'm going to put that out there for the people who are watching. If you are someone who knows you're connected to the community, you run a church, you're over a church, and you want to be someone who can learn this and take it back to the community, please contact myself or Barbara immediately now so we can get you on the list and we can get the times together and keep moving to the next step. Ladies, we're going to continue to pray for you guys. You're both beautiful, and thank you for your beautiful spirits and your heart for people, and the community and wanting everybody to be in a good place. Thank you for that. Barbara, any last words for our
No, I just want to say the same thing. Thank you. We're committed to this. We're going to make sure that folks from the community is aware of it. So we're on for tomorrow, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you very much.
This is a breath of fresh air because, when sometimes what happens out there is that I'm not getting any help. Okay, but let's be proactive. How can we help you? Right?
Yes.
So that's what we are doing here is that thank you very much for this partnership. I'm just delighted. Thank you.
Right. So thank you. And Barbara, it's my turn to say thank you.
Thank you.
She is, of course, our state rep for District 120, but she loves the city, and beyond. So, she is definitely here every time we call and say we have an issue. We need help, Barbara. She says, let's figure out something. So thank you for always just being available, doing what leaders are supposed to do. Thank you. I would give you a high five, but social distance.
Right. All right.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye, ladies.
Bye-bye.
And thank you to Is the City, and thank you to B. Michelle, and of course, thank you to the One Media Hub for facilitating this wonderful event. We're all going to sit and smile and look cute as we wait until we're offline. But thank you, Is the City, so very much for doing this for us today.